Hey, this is Craig, producer with Music Choice, on the line chatting with Ellie Goulding. Hey, Ellie.
Hello.
Thanks so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Congratulations on your single coming out, Worry About Me with Black Bear. It's fantastic. I've been loving it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's had a really nice reaction, very positive reaction. And it's probably the most fun I've had in a while making a song and making a video.
Yeah, I think the video is also great. I want to get into all of that, but first, how's your quarantine been going?
It's been going pretty good. I have like on and off days. Some days I feel like very unmotivated and kind of down in dumps, as we would say. And other days I feel really positive and like, especially when the sun's shining, it really, I know it's a cliche, but it really does make everything better when it's sunny. And we don't have as much sun as a lot of places in the world, in London. So right now I'm sat in my cottage in Oxfordshire, which sounds very quaint, but it's not a picturesque cottage necessarily, but the village I'm in is so beautiful and really perfect for this strange time. And I haven't today yet been out on my one walk of the day, so I've got that to look forward to. And then I've got all my music stuff here and my guitars and yeah, so I can, and I've a bunch of books I need to get through as well.
Yeah, that's great. It's interesting, like even though we can't be outside a lot in it, having a sunny days while we're all working from our homes has been super helpful and a real blessing when we get them, for sure.
Totally.
Something that I've been finding interesting is, you've been jumping on Instagram Live, doing interviews, back to back Friday, today. I think like the fans are getting a really interesting behind the scenes look at what an artist's promo day kind of looks and feels like.
Yeah. I don't look, I think it's we're kind of in the age now, especially in this moment where it's quite hard for artists to sort of keep up that mystery of who they are. I think it's becoming clearer and clearer that artists are still just human beings with the same issues and the same eating habits and the same routines as everyone else. I think that's really important. I think people, they want to know what the person they look up to is eating. They want to know what they're doing, what they're reading, and I'm all for that. I generally keep myself kind of private. But at this time, I'm willing to sacrifice that to keep people entertained and to make sure that people hear my song.
Yeah, totally. It's just definitely a topsy-turvy world right now in all of those regards. But let's talk about your song, Worry About Me, featuring Black Bear. Can you tell me about it? I know it kind of got leaked at the beginning. I was curious about conversations you were having maybe about whether to hold on to it or drop it, considering everything that's been going on.
Everything kind of gets leaked these days. It's really hard for that to not happen at the moment, but which is fine. I know it's perhaps more... I think it has a bigger impact with other artists than it does for me. But it is, it can be frustrating. But if my album got leaked, I just at this point, not that I'm like advocating like leaking it, but it wouldn't be the end of the world because look, it's going to be out there, and maybe it's a good thing that people can hear some new music. And I think this album particularly is quite uplifting and quite. I know it's got something magic about it that I feel like will put people in a good place. So yeah, I don't know if it gets leaked, next week, then whatever. I won't be like too mad.
Yeah, it's interesting. Music really is kind of an important for a lot of people now because they need that uplifting. They need those moments of escape too. But then there's also the question from like the artist perspective. Like not being able to be out there, not being able to perform, is the music that I've put so much of my heart into, is it really getting its, fair chance? So I just think there's like a lot of interesting conversations.
That's a tricky thing because also, you treat it kind of like your baby, like something that you have worked really hard on and you've put a lot into. And then, it kind of gets just it can just be very throwaway because there's so much music out there. It's a very saturated world at the moment, and it can just be kind of lost in everything. And that's just sad because to you, you know, it's something that you love so much that you have put a lot into, and then to others it's just like another song to skip or let pass you by. So it can be frustrating in that manner, but at the same time, if you're making music that is keeping people happy, then I think that's a real achievement. And there are only a certain amount of songs that like make it onto the radio or make it into like streaming playlists or whatever. And, you know, even if it is like the cheesiest pop song of all time or something that's really simple, you know, even that's like an accomplishment, a really amazing accomplishment to keep people, you know, making their TikToks and making their videos with their friends or whatever. So like, I don't know, it's a strange time at the moment because, you know, there's obviously music out there that perhaps won't get the light of day that it should. But it's just tough now. It's really hard you have to have something different. It's almost like more than being an artist now. It's strange times.
Totally. With this song, I just would love to just kind of jump into some of the creative process for it. Do you remember, you know, what was going on, what was happening when you started writing Worry About Me?
I remember we were in Stockholm, and I was writing with the same guys that I've written quite a few songs with now. Songs that are kind of designed to be like, I call them kind of like anti-bangers because they're clearly like sort of very catchy and very melodic and simple and have a formula with a verse and a chorus and a pre and all that stuff. But at the same time, like every song that I've done with these guys has always been like slightly different. And the last song we did was Close to Me with Sway Lee, and the chorus was kind of unusual. And so I'd always make sure that there was something that would throw you in the song. And I think this one was the operatic stuff that I was doing. But then also it's just, I don't know if we have at the moment that many kind of big empowering songs that are just like, I'm really happy being single. I know there are like the obvious ones that are literally like, you know, I'm single and I'm happy, I'm single and I'm free and all that. But this one, I don't know. That was kind of where I was at, and a lot of my friends were going through similar things. And I just wanted something empowering that you could sing along to.
Totally. And I love kind of that hip hop undertone that you have going on underneath, like in the composition as well. I think that's helps kind of further that like empowering kind of like feel good vibe too.
Yeah, and I've decided that I like my voice in that context. I like the fact I love the fact that this like random tiny like person from like Herefordshire, you know, random place in the UK can just be on songs with Sway and with Black Bear, and just people that you know that people would not necessarily ever put me together with. But I think that's really important, and I love the idea of doing collaborations that just make no sense but are like the thing that we always needed or something. I don't know.
Totally. I thought the collaboration was such a perfect fit. I thought his verse was so strong. I love that right at the end, last time you hit me up, I wrote this. I just thought, I don't know.
I know.
What were some standout? Was there like a standout lyric for you from him that he gave?
I mean, to be honest, I'm just so happy that he A, used the word bogus, and then B, rhymed it with atrocious. That's pretty solid. But no, I loved the whole thing because he was just like, you know, somewhere on my own, somewhere by the ocean, somewhere I can escape. I think that's so relatable to people. He just nailed it. He knew exactly what I was talking about, and it made me realize that, like, wow, like a lot of people have been through this similar thing. But also, you know, sometimes when you have a feature on something, they'll either go right in and talk about what you're talking about, or they just do their own thing. And both of them are equally kind of enjoyable, but it's nice when someone just completely nails, you know, what you're talking about.
Totally. I thought the visual was a super interesting concept as well. I love like the loneliness of the cabin and, you know, the whole going for the drive, the dual black bears. Can you touch on some of the themes in the visual?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it wasn't remotely linked to the lyrics in the song, other than there's this kind of surreal, kind of grotesque world where there's like this kind of mum and her two kids running around, or just trying to control this person and their alter ego. It was meant to be just a story, the video, and I purposely didn't want anything that I didn't want, like, you know, a scene where two people are fighting and then one of them like walks out and then it's just like, oh God. I wanted it to just be really dark, kind of tongue-in-cheek, but also a bit kind of spooky. And it was released on Friday the 13th, so it kind of made sense. But yeah, I do like the idea of just juxtaposing and just doing something that's completely different from the from the song subject matter.
And I love when the kind of graphic element starts to become incorporated with the car crash and stuff. I thought it was just super cool and great. Yeah. I think you hit that.
If we'd had like a bajillion pound budget, you know, and Emil would just absolutely smash it, we could make a whole movie together. But this was like very low key, very small, and yeah, he made the most of what we had, and I thought it ended up amazing.
I don't want to hold you for too much longer. Are there any teasers or anything you want to talk about with your album coming up? I know you're definitely still considering, you know, putting it out by June 5th, or maybe even earlier now at this point. Anything you can tell your fans, tease it a little bit for us?
I think there is a chance that it could come out a bit earlier. I think at this point there's just no point in hanging around, and just, you know, if it's all ready to go, then I'm just going to put it out. I want people to hear new music, and I have no idea when I'm going to be on TV again, or when I'm going to be doing a live show or in a radio station, or, you know, doing things out and about with my fans. I have no clue. I don't think any of us do. So yeah, I think that I will do whatever I can to make sure that people hear as much of the album that they, you know, I don't, like you said, I don't want it to become something that just kind of passes people by, because I want it to have the attention it deserves. So yeah, we'll see. But I think that my fans are, from what they've been saying, is they're most excited about the fact that I've written the whole album myself, and I've played most of the instruments, and it's kind of orchestral, and there's a lot of me in there, a lot of vocal stuff. So I think the fans that were big fans of Halcyon Days, my second album, I think will be really into this one.
Oh my gosh, so on a really personal note, I got to actually interview. I was just kind of starting out when Halcyon came out, and I got to speak to you, and Joy is still one of my favorite songs. Something about it when it came out just like really hit home for me, and so that just really amps me up even more for this one.
There's definitely a reminiscing, there's definitely a Joy type kind of vibe, but like, you know, melancholy kind of type vibe on some of the songs.
Yeah, I love that you have that kind of classical, those massive kind of classical influences that you've always loved, but you still do the pop, which I love.
Oh, thank you. That's sweet.
Okay, well, just to wrap up here, I just want to say thank you again so much for your time. And if there's any kind of message or any kind of words you want to send out to your fans, we would love to hear them.
My gosh, I suppose I would have to say, just thank you so much for sticking by me and for being such incredible fans, and just the amount of support I've had from you guys has been amazing. And, you know, you've come through all my different phases and, you know, moments with me in music and with what I do, and I really appreciate that. And thank you for being the best fans ever.
Thank you so much, Ellie. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. You too. You too. Yeah, stay safe and all that.
Yes, thank you. You as well. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Take care.